I cooked for my family for an entire week using only this book. Stick around to see what we think. Thumbs up.
It's really, really good.
It's very vegetable-y.
A bit undercooked.
All I taste is bean.
This is like a bouquet of flavor.
Tastes like toilet cleaner.
Got a lot of vegetable in it.
I'm into it.
It's really good.
This might end up being a disaster. Let's find out together. Greetings everyone and welcome to or welcome back to PB with Jay. Here on the channel we focus on all things plant-based goodness, and this week we are cooking exclusively from the Power Foods diet. I just want to be super clear with who we're propping up here or shutting down potentially depending on how we like this book. You see Dr. Neal Barnard here at the top because he wrote probably half of what the book is, which we'll talk about. But the recipes that are in this book, which are what we're really reviewing, are by Dustin Harder and Lindsay S. Nixon. A lot of times you see books that are made by, plant-based doctors and gurus that aren't necessarily, cooks or chefs. And so they get other people to make the recipes in the books based on their philosophies of eating. So that's this case here. Recipes are not by Dr. Neal Barnard. To that point, like half the book is like a weight loss guide and weight loss information from Dr. Barnard, and the other half of the book are these recipes. It's more of a book than a cookbook just in terms of aesthetics. So there's that. There's lots of great information. I didn't read the whole thing, but just from skimming it, there's lots of great information from foods that help you increase your weight loss opportunities, foods that aren't as healthy as you think, and lots of other great, interesting stuff in there. That said, stick around for our final thoughts on this book. And if you are interested in picking it up, please use the link in our description down below because it helps us out here on the channel. And if you're new to these videos and curious how our ranking system works, S is for superb. It's a dish that we really loved and can't wait to have again. A means it's really, really good, and we definitely want to put it into our rotation again at some point. B is fine. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. If someone else wants it, I would have it again. C means I don't really like it, but it's not so bad I won't finish it. And F is just a straight up fail. I'm putting my bowl down. I'm going to the kitchen and making something else. Before we jump into the recipes themselves, I'd like to say hello to some of the people who have said hello to us in the comments down below. Jan from Beacon, New York. Doris from Pleasanton, California. Crystal from Montgomery, Texas. Up the road from the Texas Renaissance Festival. Lisa from California, Allison from Toronto, Monty from the Big Bad South, Mississippi, Yvonne from Clearwater, Florida, Debbie from Auckland, New Zealand, Lauren from Farmingdale, New York, Aga from Glasgow, Scotland, originally from Poland though, Nora from LaSalle County in Illinois, Lisa from Minnesota, and Peace Frog from Manette, Missouri. If you'd like to shout out here on the channel, all you have to do is say hello to us in the comments down below. Let us know who you are, where you're watching from, and give us a little tidbit from where you live. That's fun. And if you want to bump up on that shout out list, consider joining us over in the Mighty Network for that perk, as well as many others, especially including just a wonderful community of like-minded individuals who don't yuck each other's yum. And you can get that for the price of a crappy cup of coffee a month. All right, to the recipes. It's upside down. To the recipes. So tonight for dinner, we're making Speedy One-Pot Dal. So the one downside to this book, even though it features a lot of really gorgeous pictures of the ingredients, it doesn't have one for every recipe, or at least it seems that way, so I couldn't find one of this. So, it's gonna look like a dal. Here's an advanced view of what ours looks like. Hopefully that's appetizing for you. This is pretty simple, and actually it's a little bit too simple for my liking, if I'm gonna be honest with you. So I'm just gonna add a few extra little vegetable items to it, just to kind of bulk it up a little bit. I want to add some peas and just some kale at the end, just to round out the nutritional profile of it. Because I find, although it looks good, it's just, onions and tomatoes. And I think we can do a little bit more with that. This items I'm adding in shouldn't really affect the overall flavor, so I think our scores will still be accurate. Ephraim is not with us tonight, so we don't get his feedback. Essentially, we heat up the onions and get those going, and once they're kind of fragrant and transparent, we're gonna add in the ginger and the garlic, and then we're gonna make Annie do the rest. Annie was shucking corn. Thanks, Annie. We're having corn on the side. Ow, why'd you spray me? Was that nice?
I love you.
This calls for diced tomatoes, because I know my wife, the way she is. I'm gonna crush those tomatoes up in the Vitamix first.
It's just the way I am.
It's just the way she is.
I am what I am.
And she yams a crushed tomato. Shouldn't affect the flavor. It's just the texture thing. So I'm curious if I can just open up the top of our can of diced tomatoes and just use the immersion blender to blend them down. This is fuller than I was expecting. This might end up being a disaster. Already kind of regretting this. Or it might be an awesome kitchen hack. Let's find out together.
24 hours later.
That worked! Look at that! The trick is just to pulse it gently. Otherwise, I could see you making a big mess. And essentially, we're gonna slowly but surely add in the rest of these ingredients until they are nice and cooked. At the end of it, we're gonna add in our plant milk for the last couple minutes. And then, as I mentioned, I'm gonna add in my spinach and my green peas. And then we're gonna serve this over brown rice. I'm trying first. I'm gonna try it without all the stuff I added. And by stuff, I mean like some vegetables. Who's gonna complain about me adding more vegetables? If you do, that's all I have to say. Bottoms up. Ooh, that's really nice. The flavor just like builds and builds. It's really good. Oh wow, this is like a bouquet of flavor. This is an S for me. Like this is really, really good. It was really simple. It was easy to add extra vegetables in here. You could also throw in like some cauliflower in here, especially if you dice it up really, really small and put it in at the end. Hard S. How's it all, Annie?
It has a bad spice in it.
I like it. I think it's got a good spice.
Yeah, it's not hot.
No, it's a good amount of spice. That's an A.
After C, like
Tonight for dinner, I'm gonna make these tofu chilaquiles. This kind of reads like making like a tofu scramble with Mexican sauces and flavors and whatnot. I'm into it. This recipe serves two, so I will be doubling it. So if you see that there's a lot of ingredients compared to what you see on the screen, that's why. One thing you have to do is take some corn tortillas and bake them in the oven. Basically, you're making tortilla chips. And then it's basically just cooking an onion, some garlic, and then adding in the enchilada sauce. Kind of like the other recipe we had last night. It's very similar. It doesn't have extra vegetables added into it. And I know this book's about like losing weight and stuff, but I don't see how adding extra vegetables is a problem. I'm gonna cut up a pepper and throw that into this because we have lots of peppers. I don't think that's a problem. And we're gonna have corn on the side again because we have fresh corn. This recommends putting corn on top, but we'll just have corn on the side. He has a recipe for the enchilada sauce, but it's confusing because it says in a saucepan, whisk together all the ingredients, taste, and adding ground cumin if using or other spices. Doesn't say anything about cooking it in the saucepan. So I'm not going to, because I'm gonna add it into this chilaquiles recipe, so it'll heat up there. I'm gonna hope that it's fine, and if not, I'll complain about it. And then we're gonna stir in these spices, and then we're gonna add the tofu and mash it up with a potato masher, it says. I'm probably just gonna crumble it with my hands. After we break up the tofu, we're gonna crumble in the tortilla chips and save a little bit for on top. Then we're gonna add in the enchilada sauce and heat until thoroughly warm and the tortillas have softened slightly. What's the point of cooking them if they just soften? That seems silly to me. Why am I cooking them for them only to soften in the pan? I might skip that step. That seems silly. I'll cook the ones that go on top. And then we're gonna heat that. I'm gonna chop up some kale and throw that in at the end too, because it's insane that there's no extra vegetables in this. This is not a meal without extra vegetables. I'm sorry, Dr. Neal Barnard. Well, he wrote the book, sorry. Dustin Harder and Lindsay S. Nixon. Put more vegetables in your meals. And then we top it with the other stuff. And I don't think we have an avocado, so we won't be adding that on top, but we do have some cilantro and some lime juice. And I'll probably put some hot sauce on mine.
It's really, really good. I would eat this again. It's an S for me. It's a quick weeknight supper, I would say. I like to add veggies.
a bit spicy, but nice.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. The corn's really juicy.
It needs other notes of flavors. It just has one.
Yeah?
And it tastes the same.
So maybe some guac on there, some lime.
Yeah.
But how's that one note?
It's alright.
So what would you give it?
I'll go B, but if you add like a bunch of stuff, it could be like an A or an S.
I give it like an A probably.
Nice. Yeah, a little lime would help perk this up. And some guac, and then this would be perfect. I'm glad I added the vegetables.
There wasn't vegetable in it before.
I didn't have peppers or kale in it. Good base, nice and simple. Add guac, for sure. So I'd say because of that, and because he does say in the book, he gives suggestions to add things, I can give it an A. It's a really good base. And then, but if you just have it on its own, that's all it'll be. And if you add those other things, it'll be an S. For dessert, I'm gonna make these black and blue brownies. These are interesting. These are different than any other kind of brownie I've made before because it combines like some fruit spread or jam inside of the mixture and then as a layer on top before you bake it. So that's different. I'm excited for that. Basically, you preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, line an 8x8-inch pan with some parchment, and then you're gonna hit your food processor and put pretty much all the ingredients inside of it except for the cocoa powder and the flour and some of the jam. You're gonna mix that all up. Add the cocoa powder and flour. And to make it gluten-free, all I did was I used some garbanzo bean flour or chickpea flour because we were out of our 1-to-1 gluten-free replacement and I didn't feel like grinding up some oats. I'll say this, chickpea flour will smell when you put it in, but the taste like bakes out, right, Willie? She says we'll see. In the past, I've noticed that. I know the first time I tried to bake with chickpea flour, I thought it was an awful mistake that the cookbook author made, but that I couldn't really taste in the end. Although I'm gonna predict that the note from the kids of these brownies are gonna be that they're not sweet enough. You're gonna spread that out into a pan, get it nice and flat and even, and then you're gonna add the jam on top of that. For the jam, we used our homemade chia jam, and then you're gonna bake it for 40 to 45 minutes. It says until the fruit preserves on the top have started to dry slightly. Remove from the oven and let cool completely. Cut into 16 squares. And these are really low in calories. Every brownie is like 68 calories. So, you know, you could probably have like 4, 8, 16 of them for dessert.
A bit undercooked.
I think they're supposed to be like that. Make them fudgy.
Not fudgy.
Oh.
Bean dip.
Oh. How is it?
It's like bean dip.
Really?
You try it.
You don't like it?
Try it.
It doesn't taste like bean dip. It's not very sweet. But I like the jam is really, really nice in it.
I don't want a brownie.
No, you can't have it. There's chocolate in it. It's like an A- or a B+.
Give it a
Sorry.
C.
Somewhere in the middle.
I give it a C.
Tastes like jam.
It's so beany. All I taste is bean.
Bad choice in flour.
Is an F for you?
Oh, it tastes like bean.
I like the jam part.
Yeah, I do too. So I'm gonna blame myself for the low grade because of the chickpea flour, although I don't taste chickpea flour. I think it's just beanie because of the black beans. So, but I'll wear this one a little bit. But the jam is a great addition. I would add that to a brownie recipe of mine. But this one's just, it's not great. For breakfast this morning, I'm gonna make the strawberry banana breakfast bake. Except I'm already pivoting because we couldn't find good strawberries right now at this time of the year. But we found really good fresh blueberries. So we're gonna swap those out. The rest of the integrity of the recipe remains the same. So there's that. We're gonna start off by preheating the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we're gonna make a flax egg and gather all the rest of the ingredients while that is sitting for a few minutes. And I'm actually just going to do this banana mixture inside of our blender. We got to add in 2 bananas, the milk, the applesauce, and the vanilla, and mix that around and just till that's all blended together. And then in another bowl, we're gonna add the oats, baking powder, cinnamon, and then to that, we're gonna add the flax mixture and the banana mixture and mix it all around. And then we're gonna fold in the blueberries. We're gonna transfer that to an 8x8 baking dish that has some silicone lined inside of it. And then we're gonna top that with some more blueberries and bananas. And if you wanna make this treaty, you could probably add some chocolate chips or some raisins or something like that to this. We're gonna bake it for 25 minutes or until the edges have started to brown and the top appears to be set. It says to cool for 10 minutes before cutting into squares. This says to slice it into 9 slices at the end, but calorie-wise, it only makes up like about 250, 300 calories per person if you do 4 servings. So I'm just gonna cut it into 4s at the end because it's a breakfast for the day. And that's actually a pretty light breakfast in my opinion. I might need to add something to that.
It's really good. It's oatmeal-y. You can taste banana. The blueberries are nice. Not too sweet, but sweet enough. I would give it an S.
I think it was pretty good. Tastes like oatmeal. No, where are you going? I give it a B.
A B? You said it was really good.
I thought it was pretty good.
Oh.
Roll the clip. I think it was pretty good. See? It says pretty good.
It's essentially a baked oatmeal. And then I always just go, well, why not just make oatmeal? It's really good. It's really tasty. The blueberries give it way more sweetness. I would want to add some nuts to this. I probably will. Actually, I'm going to go throw some hemp seeds on here. Maybe some other things. It's a good base and you can change the fruit out. I give it like an A. Because it's good, but I just think it's like, you can do more with it.
Smells kind of funky. Tastes like toilet cleaner.
Tastes like toilet cleaner. It's just regular ingredients. Maybe the blueberries or something with it because it's just like oats and milk and flaxseed and bananas.
It's not the blueberries.
You don't like it?
Not really. I don't like oats for breakfast, remember?
Oh yeah. So what do you get?
C.
Okay.
Hi, so today we are making for dinner a Mediterranean chickpea sandwich. Kind of like chickpea salad, but different. Unfortunately, I was really like, I gotta make it. I have a busy afternoon. I'm just gonna make it early. So I made it, and then I realized I didn't tape any of the process. So here's what I did. I cooked about 3/4 cup of chickpeas in the Instant Pot, or you can use a 15-ounce can of chickpeas. So you add in some chopped red onion, just a small red onion. I didn't put too much because Annie doesn't love it, and to be honest, I don't want my breath to taste too oniony after I'm done eating. So red onion, some chopped Roma tomato, chopped pretty finely. Then I also roasted an orange pepper, but you could buy roasted red peppers. We just don't buy it because it's often in oil, which we don't want to have. So I just roasted it on the stove. I turned on the burner, put the pepper on, and kept rotating it until it was roasty. Took off the peel, chopped it finely, threw it in the bowl with some dill, some salt, it's called for capers. Our family is we're just not capers people. So I chopped up a couple tablespoons of dill pickle, which I know will be a hit for that Annie girl. Some dried basil, juice of half a lemon. So we stirred it all together, and then we're gonna put it on our bread and add some lettuce, and we're gonna eat it up. So in terms of the sandwich, my bread's a little dry, so that's kind of affecting it, but I'll try to ignore that fact. It's pretty good. The chickpeas, like, they fall apart a lot, like it's not really stuck together, so it's pretty messy to eat, but flavor-wise, I'd say it's delicious. It's got lots of flavors. It's got the dill, it's got the oregano, it's got the different veggies, the tomato and peppers. So I like the flavor, but the texture is very crumbly for a sandwich. So I give it an A, but there's gotta be a way to stick it together better.
It's good. It's just messy. I'm gonna eat it with a fork. It's like our chickpea salad sandwich, but with it's more souped up. Like it's got more stuff in it. Fancier. Yeah, I'm probably giving it an A for flavor wise.
Okay, thanks.
This reminds me of a chickpea salad sandwich we already make, but I appreciate the Mediterranean spin on it. I like that there's extra vegetables in here. I like the peppers and the onions. With dill's very nice. I know she didn't have time to make the tzatziki sauce. I think that would make a big difference with this because it just tastes very similar to the one we make, but the extra veggies is a really nice touch, and I like that a lot. I'd make this again for sure, and I want to make the tzatziki with it. I can give this an A. I bet with the tzatziki it would like bump it up, but this is a solid sandwich. I would eat this again happily. Tonight, we're making very fast veggie lentil soup. And it's even faster because Wooly did all the vegetable prep for me. Thanks, Wooly!
You're welcome.
This literally is very, very simple. So you heat your pot up on the stove and you're gonna add in the onion, carrots, and celery and let that get a little cooked, you know, sauteed for like 3 minutes or so, just until everything gets a little soft. Then you're gonna add the garlic in and saute that for 1 more minute. After that, you're gonna add in the potato and broth. Fun fact, we are out of veggie broth, so what we're gonna do in place of that is use the same amount of liquid, and I'm just gonna use a salt-free seasoning like Mrs. Dash. Costco also has its own salt-free seasoning that you can use. I'm gonna put a tablespoon of this in. That should give it, you know, a nice little boost of flavors that vegetable broth would do as well. Once those potatoes are fork tender, about 6 or 8 minutes into it, we're gonna add the rest of the ingredients. And let it simmer for 2 to 4 minutes until the broccoli is basically cooked. All in all, this thing should take less than 30 minutes, not counting the cutting time. So the recipe doesn't ask you to, but for a soup like this, I like to blitz it up with the little hand mixer. It just, I don't know, blends things together and mixes the flavors a bit better, especially for something that's a quick soup, where I'm sure the flavors, if you left them overnight, would kind of mingle a bit more. I think, let me put a little salt in, and pepper. It's just a little simple in flavor. It's not bad. People can just salt and pepper this to taste. Maybe add a little hot sauce would be good. I might even throw a little nooch on mine.
That's pretty good. It's very vegetable-y. Tastes like any old soup. I'm gonna put some more pepper in mine.
But the base of it's good?
Yeah.
What would you give it?
I'll give it an A.
He said it doesn't have much flavor, but the flavor's pretty good.
It's really good. I did put some salt and pepper in it. I really like it. I like how much vegetable is in it. Got a lot of vegetable in it. And I like that. I would take this with me for lunch and I would eat it. I would give it an S.
Yeah, I think it needs a little extra salt and pepper. But it's good. Like Willie says, it's got a nice basis of flavor. I would just keep adding, like, I'm gonna add some nooch to this. It's good. It just needs some extra stuff. Like, I think it's, I don't know. I think the base is all good. I like the construction of the soup. I like all the ingredients. I just want to add more flavorings. I'm gonna give this like a B plus. The flavor's just not there yet, but it could be.
I have to wait till it cools down. It hurts my mouth.
The next day.
It's good. I like it. Yeah, there you go.
What do you give it?
I like it. It tastes good. Oh, there's Mother. It tastes good. I like all the vegetables. I like the corn. I give it an A.
So, forgot to put the tomato in. Oh man, that tomato actually adds so much more to the flavor. I'm gonna agree. That's an S now for me. All right, it's crazy how much that tomato added to that flavor. That's what was missing. So what did we think of the Power Foods diet? As I mentioned off top, this book is literally half weight loss instructional book full of information and half recipe book. So if you're someone who is on a weight loss journey, this book is probably a buy for you, especially for the information inside, but the recipes themselves, because the recipes are focused on weight loss and whatnot. And so I think the way they're tailored, and if we had any complaints or whatnot throughout the video, I think it's because of those elements. If you're at a healthy weight, then perhaps this book is just a solid borrow so you can check out the recipes and see if it's worth you owning this book yourself. If you're the kind of person that loves a cookbook with lots of big, beautiful photos, this one does have photos, but they're all kind of lumped into a few sections, so they're not necessarily paired up with the recipes themselves, which I know can be a deal breaker for some people out there. If you are interested in picking up this book, please use our link in the description down below because it helps us out here on the channel. And if you like this video, hit that like button so that YouTube knows to send it to other people, and subscribe for more videos like this. And if you got a few more minutes, why don't you stick around, because YouTube has this one all queued up. Look, it's just sitting there. It's ready to go. And all you have to do is hit it so it'll go to it, or just sit back and do nothing. Although I'm not sure if that's how that works. Maybe just click on it.